Hello guys, so today we are going to discuss about the LLD for this JSON parser. So just to give you the little bit explanation of what is JSON parser. So let's see, if you can see in the left we are having this string which is actually a JSON data, but we have serialized it into the string format. And in the right, as you can see, we have deserialized that string JSON data in the JSON format. So the work of this JSON parser is going to be the exactly same. We are given the string which actually contains the JSON data, and we need to pass that data from the given string. So for that we need to design this system, basically whatever. Let's see what are the features which we are looking for. So one thing which I've just mentioned, read and interpret the JSON data. The other thing is handle the different types of data types. So in string we can have in JSON we can have string, number, boolean, array, object, or maybe we can introduce even new different data types in future. So the JSON parser should be made in such a way that it is very easy to kind of add a new different types. The next thing is error handling. So we need to make sure that we are handling the syntax error and the unexpected inputs correctly, because there may be a chance that the input which is given to us or the string which is given to us is not actually correct. So the next thing is nested structure. So as if you must have definitely seen the JSON, so you must have seen that it has a nested structure. Just to show you some example, let's say, um, so let's say this is the how the things look like. Now it can be something like this also. Let me just copy it. Yeah. So it can be something like this also. Okay. Um, Yeah. So it can contain any key, which can be, let's say, it can be anything. For example, just to say for the sake of example, I will say. The now instead of this value also we can have another structure, the same object thing. So this is what we meant by the nested. So the JSON can be nested. You can even think it in a way of the recursion, that you keep going inside, and then until you hit the end, you just need to keep going inside that. So it's a that thing. Allow the flexible parsing of, so we should be able to parse the flexible one. We should be able to parse the partial JSON data from it. It should not be like, hey, we will not get the data until unless we really process the entire string. Now the next thing is we need to convert the JSON data into the usable object structure. So when you are going to convert the JSON string into the data format, we need to make sure that the output which we are getting, we are able to use it. It should not be just like you are printing it out. No, we should be actually be able to use it. The next thing is allow configuration of handling specific JSON structure. Let's say in future if we want to have a different kind of JSON structure. So basically we should have a kind of a configuration which we can have in this JSON parser, so that we are making this entire service as a flexible service where if we change something tomorrow in our JSON structure, we are making some changes to the structure, it should be applicable inside this. Okay. Now let's talk about this handling the different types first. Okay, let's see how we will actually parse this. Let's first thought about the problem. Okay, so this is what we are having. Now how we will basically write the code to basically pass this entire string into the given format. So here we can have, let's say, string also. Okay, we can have string also, we can have, let's say, object also, we can have number also, we can have boolean also. So, and it can be even nested. All can be nested also. So how we are going to write the code? So one thing is going to be about how we are going to kind of structure this entire data. How we are going to write the JSON in the object format, as it's mentioned here, the object mapping. So everything we are saying here, it's a kind of a JSON element. If you see, this is also a element of the JSON. This is also an element of the JSON. This is also an element of the JSON. This is also an element of the JSON. Correct. So wait, just give me a second. Yeah. Now let's see how we have done it in this block. See here. So as I was saying that we have created an interface class, which is this JSON element. It has a method called get value. When we say get value, so I mean just a simple thing, as you guys know, you will just get the value of that JSON element. It can be a number, it can be a boolean, it can be an array, it can be an object, or it can be a string also. So we have, this is an interface. This JSON element is an interface, and this string, JSON number, boolean, JSON array, and JSON object, we have implemented this interface in this format, so we should be able to easily parse it. Now let me show you how it looks like actually. So this is how the JSON elements look like. If you see, we are only having a simple interface. And one thing, why we are saying it as an object, because as you see, we have implemented it in all the ways, like number, string, boolean, array, object. So they can return anything. It can be even string, it can be even a number, it can be even a boolean, it can be even an array, it can be even an object. So that's why we are referring it as an object. Okay, now let's come to string. So if you see, we have implemented this JSON element. Nothing different. We have just implemented the method. There is nothing different here, as it's like a simple thing in JSON string. Similarly for the number also, it's just simple. Now, similarly for the boolean, again nothing different. But in array, you will find some difference. So in array, if you see, we are implementing the same method here. What if your JSON element, your JSON value is an array? For example, something like this. Okay, it can be, let's say, JSON element. It can be then JSON. Let's say it can be an array also. This is one of the way it can be there. Okay, sorry. It can be even, let's say, JSON boolean, or it can be even JSON array. So this JSON array, let's say if we just remove it and we say, hey, this is going to be this. So this is what is represented by this class basically. This will be holding the entire data of that array. Now, if you see, let's say it will have multiple elements. It will have JSON element, again one JSON element. Okay, now here we are storing all this. Now again, we are not specifying whether it is going to be JSON object, whether it is going to be JSON array or anything. It can be anything. It may be a boolean, it may be a number, it can be even a string. So we never know what it is going to be. Okay, so that's how we are representing the JSON array in this, implementing the JSON element and having a array list here basically. Now this is just a constructor. Now if you see, so this has a really, now you guys may think, hey, what is the use case of this get value? So this get value is very useful when you are going to sprint this entire JSON element. So if I tell you here, I'm sure if we should jump it that way, but if you see here JSON element, we are just trying to print this value. Now if I show you the output, this is how the output look. Okay, so the way this printin is getting the string format of these elements is this. It is actually calling the wait, we missed yeah, it is actually calling this dot get value to get the string value format of those objects, because whenever you are going to use the system printer, it will always print in the format of string. So, but you are providing it as a object which is actually defined by you. So how the statement will get the value of it? So if you define the dot get value method in your class, it will actually automatically call it to get the value of that particular element of the object, whatever. Okay, so this was the array as we have discussed. Okay, so this is just nothing, a simple way of converting the entire thing in this way of output. Nothing different, nothing related to LLD, it's just a basic Java which we use. Okay, now let's come to object. So again, as we just discussed that it can be nested. So let's say this is this one. Okay, by the way, whenever I'm writing this element, it's always actually JSON string. because key is always going to be a string. But so now this time this JSON element is JSON object. As we have just already discussed, it can be a JSON array, it can be JSON something, JSON string, JSON boolean. It can be a JSON object also. Now, how we are going to kind of structure it or store it? So this is how this is. So for that purpose, we have created this class. As it was mentioned in the blog, we need to have a different kind of data types. So let's say if tomorrow you get a new kind of data format, you will just implement the same interface as JSON element and create a new class for it. So this is how it is easily extensible. Okay, now let's see what we have done in this object. Now object can itself contain the keys and the value. For example, let's come to back here. So this is, see, this entire thing is an object. Okay, it can contain a key and it can contain a value then. Again, this is also entirely an object itself. It can contain a key and it can contain a value. So if you see here, what we are doing, we have created this entire map where we are having this pair which is stored in this format. Again, why we are storing this as a JSON element, this one? Because as I have discussed here, for the name as a key, object was the value, but for this one, this key, the value was a string, not an object. So that's why we are using this interface again here. So because if we are using the interface, we can use both the classes in respective of even if they are the different classes here. So here we are going to store all the key map pair which we have actually. Okay, and again this JSON element can itself be an object, then it can have an entire again different chain. Okay, so that's, it can be nested also. Okay, so same thing here, we are just initializing this JSON object, this dot get value, sorry, this get value method which we just discussed, that it's only mostly going to be used by that printing statement which I just showed you. Whenever you want to get the output of this entire object in terms of string, you will be printing that system.out.println will always use this method. It will automatically call this method and get the value from it. Okay, so I think we are mostly done with all the classes. So here, if you see, we have uses this basically composite pattern. So if you just see here, we are using this composite pattern for handling the nested structure. How? As you can see, whenever here we have not used JSON object, we have not said JSON boolean, we have not said JSON string, we have not said JSON array. So because the way we have structured our classes, we are able to do all these things. Now let's come to, okay, so we have not actually done this, basically creating the factory method pattern, but you can actually do it. It's not going to make much difference in terms of design. It is just going to be helpful for creating the different types of JSON elements. So it's not going to be a very big deal here. Okay, this is not like a crux thing for this thing entirely. Again, builder pattern, you can use it to create a complex JSON object, but again, this is just for building. For now, we are just talking about converting the string to a JSON format. Okay. Now, another pattern which we use here is the interpreter pattern. Now, we have used this interpreter pattern to parse the entire thing. Okay, so this is our main class, which is actually holding the entire logic of converting a string into the JSON format or the data. So here, if you see, we have defined all the constants. These are kind of a delimiter, you can say. They all meant something. Like for example, this open curly brace, what does it actually mean? It means that a new object is actually getting started. Actually, hey, on JSON element, which is actually a JSON object, is actually getting started. That from that point it is getting started. Close curly means same thing which I just said. What about open square bracket? This means for array. Hey, from that index of the string, now all the elements which are coming up is going to be the part of a JSON array or a JSON element itself. The closure is definitely going to tell us that hey, we are done with the JSON array or the JSON element, so we can club it and then make it up. We can just close it out. Double quote is something, it's like working as a delimiter to find out all the strings. The string can be key, value of an array, value of the object. For example, let's say um, here. So this double string here is actually helpful to find out here. Okay, how you will find out in this string that name is going to be the key. So this is what they are actually using, slash string. So string is the actual thing. Basically, this slash is automatically added as a escape character when you convert it to a string. So just that way. But the major string is this. If you just see the JSON data, how it looks like, that this strings define, this keywords define whether it's that, hey, it's a key. Sorry, it's a string. So this keyword is actually getting used to parse the string. Now the string can be the key also, string can be the value also. Okay, it can be the value of the array also. It can be in any way. That is which we are handling it when we are parsing that entire data, which you will actually see. Now, what about this colon? Simple thing. I mean, you must guys have already got it. Colon is just to find out which one is going to be the key and which one is going to be the value. So, for example, value is a string, key is a string, but this colon tell us that, hey, whatever is going to come up after colon is going to be the value of this string, which is key. Okay, so this is just working as a delimiter in that. Now, what about this comma? I mean, simple thing, not a big deal. Comma can be a delimiter for the array element. It can be a delimiter for the new key and pair. For example, um, if I just show you once. So here, let's say key 2, value 2. Okay, so um, here as you can see, this comma is working as a separator to tell us that, hey, we are starting for a new key pair thing. Okay, for a little now, we are fine. So this is just, yeah, okay. Now tomorrow, if you can work in even different way. For example, what if I say, hey, let's say you want to use instead of curly brace, you want to use something at the rate, something which is not, uh, I mean, making sure that it's not going to be used in the string very often. I mean, you need to be really take care about that also. But let's say you're using some character which are not used there as such, which you can easily handle. So let's say you can even write it that way, something like that, or maybe you can say ending will be always um, with the, let's say, hash, something like that. So you can just replace it here, and then it will still parse the entire JSON data. Yeah, there can be some consideration which you must have to do, but overall this is how you can change these values to get what you want. Okay, um, so let's move on with this one now. So this entire class holds the entire logic of parsing in every way. So let's go to the main function. So if you see in this main function, we are having this string, entire string. This is what we are actually parsing out. If you see the output of this one, let me show you. See, the name is John. So in the output, you can see the name is John. Age is 30. Age is 30. Sorry, yeah, age is 30. This one here at the end. City is New York. City is New York here. I can see. Is admin true? You can see is admin also again true. Score this, whatever. Again, score is this, whatever. So it's already mentioned here. Now, just to show you that, hey, this is not a hard coded and all that thing, and just change it to something like that. Okay, close it out. See, I use this character called at the rate and it broke. Okay, that is what I was trying to say. If we have written the code in such a way that the specific character will not work, then it can be an issue. The reason this didn't work out is, I will show you. Um, Although we will just check it out again, but just to show you here. Okay, I will show you at the end again. We will have to go through the entire flow. Um, but the basic thing is what is the issue is when we are parsing the string, we are doing something like if it is a character, we are considering it. If it is not an alphabetic character, then we are not considering it. That's why it's not working. But let's say if I write my name, okay, wait, let me just reload it. There may be an issue in the backend. Otherwise, this should work. See. Yeah. So if you see, it is actually there. Wait, let me show you again. CD equivalent to new. There must be some issue in the backend server. That's why it didn't come up. But yeah, let me just do it again. Yeah. Okay. So this is how it is actually working. So it's working fine. Let's now see the actual code how it is working. So the first function which we are actually calling here is this one, which is parse, and we are passing the string to it. So let's see where the parse is. This is parse value here. Let's come here. Okay, here. We are getting this JSON string. We are initializing our index is equivalent to 0. This is what we meant by this interpreter pattern. Okay, this one. We are using this interpreter pattern here to, so this index variable is going to be the, it's not going to be local to that function. It is like, it is local for this class. So anyone can access this index and can find out, hey, at what point we are currently processing, basically. Same thing, we have just again stored the JSON here because we are not passing the JSON to any function. We are just always initializing it in the class and then just calling then orchestrating the entire flow. So we have defined few functions here which we will discuss. One is the skip white space. So there will be many times where you will see that it yeah. So if you see, this is a white space. There is no meaning of this white space. It is coming up. There is no meaning of this white space. Something. There is no meaning of this white space. So we have specifically defined specifies a function which will be skipping those white spaces. Normally, what we do is something like this. That hey, if let's say JSON index is equivalent to let's say this space, then do what index plus plus something like this. So normally what we have just done is it's the same thing which we have done, not much different, but we have separated into a different function. So we don't face any issue tomorrow if we want to change something in the, let me show you also. And let me just zoom it out now. Yeah, here. Wait, sorry. Here. So if you see if character dot white space, sorry, or is white space is equivalent to that. Basically, if the value at that particular index is space, then keep incrementing it. Okay. Now we have defined another function which is called this consume. This consume is specifically meant for those characters which are not going to be the part of our final data. For example, colon. Colon is not the part of our data. You're not going to store the colon as the JSON key or JSON value. So it is just there to delimit something. It can be key, it can be value, or it can be something. Okay. Similarly, you can say comma can be something which is used for consuming. The parenthesis again, they are kind of a delimiter which tells you something is starting, something is ended, but they are not the part of they're not the part of the actual data. So if like you must have done a question, Marius question on lead code also something like that, where you actually write something like this. Hey, if let's say uh, JSON index is equivalent to something like this, I'm for sure, damn sure you must have done this one. Basically, JSON index is equivalent to let's say this one. Uh, it can be let's say string. Sorry, let's say single queue. So what you say, hey, okay, we got to know that hey, there is a delimiter we have got, and then we will do something like this. Sorry, I'm just writing in C++. I'm like little bit right now. Yeah, I was using C++, so that's all. But the thing is, this is how you normally write the code when you're doing the lead code something interview. That hey, if the current character is slash and this character is slash, and this is how you consume it in your code. This is the way. This is like the same concept which you actually do when you do the lead code. Okay, you're consuming those two values. Sorry, those two indexes because you got the information what you wanted now, but those characters are not going to be helpful for you for the further processing. So for the same purpose, we have this thing. Okay, now consume word like this consume we have specifically for those characters can be colon comma that array square brackets curly braces and all that. Similarly we have this something called word, and I mean just to say the thing which if you remember the error which we have got when we were using the triple a at the rate, it was this. Can you see here? So what we are saying is latter. That was the reason. So if you want to tomorrow incorporate that at the rate that hey array value, sorry, string value can be at the rate there also. So you just need to change this logic that hey, character does not just need to be a letter or an alphabet. It can be a symbol or some other stuff also. Okay, but here this function is only specifically used for consuming the words. For example, what will happen is, let's say you reached here. Now in the code you got to know that hey, this is a string. Okay, in terms of the code it's kind of a word. So this consume word function will actually consume all this data till this slash. Actually, let's check it again. This one, it will keep running until unless you hit a character or a letter, sorry. Okay, once you hit it, it is actually returning this thing. So this is what we are using to get the string. String can be someone's key, someone value, something, something, and all that array value that it's there defined in the different logic. Okay. Now I think we are mostly we have covered the basic function. I'll guys tell you now. Let's go to the main logic. How we are actually parsing. Now I've almost told you most of the things. Now we are mostly done with the main logic actually. How we are actually parsing. So we were actually calling this function initially, just to show you again here. This part. We are actually calling this function with the JSON string. The same thing which we have already discussed. It will be initialized into the classes. Skip white space we have already discussed, and now it is saying that hey, return this parse value. So basically this function is calling another function which is this parse value, so which is this one. Okay, now we are at the beginning of this stage. This one, we are at the let me just paste it something, just 1 second. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so let's say this is now what we are looking to parse. Okay, we are at this stage now. We are at sorry, messed up. Yeah, we are at this stage. This one, open curly braces. Okay, now the index is at 0 until unless there is a white space. In our case, there is no white space. Okay, there is no white space. Okay, so we will always start with the index 0. Now you will fetch the current character at that index. So what we are getting is this one. It is what slash this n basically. Sorry, I think I should use that one. The reason I'm not using that because we have not considered the slash, sorry, the new line character in our parsing string. If you want, you can do it. The code is written in such a way that you can always make extensions. Sorry, wait. Okay, wait. What I will do is I'll just let me just remove these codes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we are using the same string which is here. The key and value are different, but the structure is same. Okay. So as I said that we are going to start from this first curly brace. What is the value at this first index? That's this initial curly brace. So now we got to know, as I have already mentioned, that hey, we need to parse our object. Now it will start parsing the object. Okay. Now you know any object will always have a key and pair. Same like goes with the JSON. So we have created this map. So if you remember this class here, this JSON object, we are having this now. So we are always initializing this. So definitely once we create an any JSON object, we will be just calling this one to store the data in that format. Okay. Let's go back to our place again. Yeah, just 1 second. Yeah. So this is the parse object. Now, again, as we have just discussed, this is again, which I told you. Um, we are consuming the open curly brace. As I said, there we checked out whether the curly brace is there or not. Yeah, you can consume the curly brace there also, whatever way you want to go, that will be also fine. Again, fine, no issue with that. Where we have consumed the curly braces, now we are checking. This is a way of checking whether there is if there is a workspace, then skip it. If there is no workspace, it will not do anything. As we have seen, it's a while loop. If there is a workspace, it will always start consuming and keep consuming until unless you hit a character. Now, now you as we have decided how we will decide that our object is getting closed. It will be always when we get a curly brace. Okay, now you say, hey, but if it's a nested object, but if it is a nested object, now we are making a recursive call. I will show you. This entire thing is a recursive call. If there is a nested object, it will again make a function call, again make a function call. That's how the entire code is written. Okay. Now let's go to here. Here, what we are doing is we have skipped all the white spaces. Okay, this one. Let me copy paste it to every place, um, so that it does not. Okay, sorry. Actually, I can't wait. Okay, so here what we are doing is we are getting the property name. What is this property name? Nothing. It is just a key. So the key here is going to be what? This one. And what we are doing in this part string. Let's see that. See, I told you already this thing. What we are going to do? We are going to consume that double quote. Okay, because you know, all string always start with what? Double quotes. So we are consuming that. Okay. Uh, yeah, here, parse. We have consumed the double quotes. We have got all the things from there. Basically, we have got all the entire JSON string from it. And once we hit the double quote again, we got to know that the string is getting close. We consume the quote itself, closing quote, you can say, and return the string. Once we got the string, let's go back to here. You got what? You got the property name or a key name. Skip white space, simple thing. Colon, same thing. If there is a key, there will be a value. And how it is separated always by the colon. Skip white space again, there can be white spaces there. Now here, you are trying to fetch the property value. Okay, now let's go to what is, sorry, parse value. Sorry, parse value. What's parse value? Sorry, parse value. Again, see now. Now this is what I was saying. It's a recursive call. Parse value is again taking you to the same place from the place it got started. Because as I always said, value can be an object, value can be a string, value can be anything. Let's say value is a string. Okay. Okay. In our case, for now I will make it simple. Let's say value is a string. Something like this. Now it will fetch the current character. Definitely it's not going to be open curly brace, it's not going to be square bracket, it's going to be a double quote. So we will parse this thing. We have already discussed that function, by the way. It will return the value. So parse value will return the value itself. We got the key, we got the value, we set it to the map, we skip the workspace, and we will, if there is a comma again, we got to know that hey, there is one more, what do we say? One more key value pair. Okay, so this is how we are actually have created the entire JSON parser to parse the entire thing basically. Let me see if I'm missing out. You guys can spend more time on checking more complex object, but it's a recursive call. So if you see here, parse, if the parse value is called, let's say for this one, if this was not a string, let's say it was an object, again this parse object was going to be get called this one. This parse object can again call the parse value. So this is how the recursion is actually working out. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything. No, no, nice. I think we have covered most of most of the thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. One more thing which I will tell you guys is here. So the way we are parsing the boolean is this thing. Basically, we are checking whether the first character, the character which we have got, is true, t, or false, and that's how we are actually parsing the entire thing. Basically, current character is null. Yeah, if any value is null, then we are always doing the parse none. Let's go to the cover the parse none. So I think I left it. So it will actually consume the entire null thing. If you go to this one, this way, this will actually consume the null part. I have not checked it out in the code. I have not tried specifically the null thing. I'll just make sure to check it out. Just try it out. If it does not work, let me know. I will check it out. I will try to fix it if there is any issue there. More or less, I think we have covered everything. If anything is, if I've explained anything wrong, just let me know. I'm just making this much long video first time, so maybe I've like messed up in various places. But yeah. Okay. Let's see if we are missing anything. Boolean, as I just said, consume word. We are then checking whether it says or not. Okay, maybe the little bit refactoring can be done here actually. Consume word and this parse string kind of no, actually they are fine. Yeah, so the reason we need this different for one for the that boolean and one for the um, string is string delimiter is cured, but boolean does not have as such a delimiter, at least in terms of symbol. For example, true. After true, there will be a space. That is how the deal. That is what the delimiter is for the boolean. Will be the delimiter for the boolean when we are parsing it. So that's why we need this different function. Yeah, I think we have covered mostly everything. Let me stop the recording.